So to get started in Javadoc, to create Javadoc for our own code, we'll need to do forward slash star star. So let's try this out on a couple methods. Actually, let's go ahead and do it on airplane class. So on our airplane class, we have a bit of everything. We have some methods that throw, some methods that return something. We got some getters that return something, right? So let's try that out. So on top of that method, we're going to type in forward slash star star. And the moment you do that and press enter, you'll notice it's going to generate a kind of comment block, but it's a bit different than a comment block. Because of the two stars, it'll consider as a Javadoc, so that when we pull up the information of get status, we'll notice that information when we do Control Q. So this Javadoc comes in, well, when you create it, it'll automatically list a couple things for you, such as, let's say, this one. Let's do forward slash star star, press enter. Notice the stuff that it will generate for you is the return, the throws, so these are the exceptions, and if you had any parameters, it would also list that for you automatically. So these are metadata, so these are like, what would you call it, some annotations, some meta annotations to get some values when we're reading this. Normally, you would start off with a general description of what that does. Gives the current status of the airplane. And over here, the return, we specify what it is that's returning, the status of the airplane. Again, even though we rewrote the same thing as the description, it doesn't matter. The point being, when someone, let's say over here, I do Control Q, look what happens. We get the general description, gives the current status of the airplane, and what it returns, the status of the airplane. We could even mention more details than this. So this is really important. We see these type of thing a lot of places. So let's do a couple more, and then we'll go a bit more in details of the tags that we could use, the annotation, the meta tags that we could use to make this even better. As an example, let's go up here. Let's say JFrame. As an example, you could see that there's links in there that we could even go to different classes, etc., etc. This is really useful because we could read and navigate our documentation without too much trouble, right? And we're going to try and do the same thing here. So start engine. We'll try to start the engine if turned off. It's good to let any information that the user needs to know for starting the engine. If there's any issues, it will be specified, right? So it will try to start the engine if turned off. And I don't know, we could say that if it's good, it won't throw anything. Or we could say that if any problems arise, then it will throw the corresponding exception. I'm going to say airplane exception. And let's spell correctly. Show context meaning corresponding. There we go. So again, these are really important. So current airplane is blown up or is exploded. Not usable. And airplane already has airplane engine is already on, right? So now whoever is utilizing our method start engine, they do Control Q on it, they could see a general description and those two throws that it does. So let's come down to the class. On the class part, we could also do this Javadoc. In the class part, we give a general description of the airplane class. Here, it would be a great idea to put any restrictions of utilizing the airplane class, such as if there was a constructor, you would want to say, we need to have these, initialize that, etc. One of the metadata that we normally put on the class is saying offer. And you could see here, it kind of detected the name I utilized for my ID. So we could say author res, right? Some other stuff that we would like to have here would be, another one would be version. So here we could list which version of the airplane class we're currently at, and they could come back to this and understand if some changes were happening. Are we utilizing the current version, or are we utilizing an older version, etc. What else can we put here? Let's see. Control space. We get version, offer, API note. If it's deprecated, so deprecated means this this class or this method shouldn't be used anymore. It's still there so that it complies to any calls from older code, so we don't break anything. But you should tend to go away from this. Where can we see deprecated stuff? Let me see. We did a couple times deprecated things. I just don't remember them by heart. You tend to just read and move forward. I'm pretty sure if we look into maybe the math class, there should normally be something deprecated in there, and you'll normally see a deprecated method with a line over it. Let me see if I could find anything. No. Let's do one more. System dot. I just want to show you a deprecated method. I'm going to pause for a second, look up one of these deprecated methods, and I'll be right. So one of these deprecated methods actually is in JFrame. So if we do control space here and we go looking down, you could see this line going over our methods. And sorry. So this line dictates that this is deprecated methods or classes, in this case, classes. So you should tend to not utilize this. You could see here, it says at deprecated since version 9 for removal eventually. So you could see there's a true. So you got to be careful if you do utilize this at some point. This method might even be taken out, right? Same thing for JApplet, deprecated since 9. So this is the Java version, etc., etc. So this is an important thing. So if we go ahead and put deprecated, and we could put other, I think there's a keyword here. I just don't utilize this enough. So let's say since 9 or since a version or something. Let's say 9. Does that work? And then whoever utilizes the class airplane. So let's go somewhere that's utilizing airplane here. You could see that there's a line on top of it saying that this has been deprecated, and you kind of want to try to not utilize it. So control Q. Deprecated since 9, whatever 9 would mean for our airplane. Inside Java, it means the version of Java, but for us, it doesn't mean much, right? So we could put some metadata in there as well. Some other cool tags that we could utilize. All right, sorry for that. I had a little call. So some other tags that we could utilize. So over here, we have some static values. We could determine those static. Am I playing? Yes. So let's say, where are we utilizing those static values? Increase altitude. Okay, so we're increasing or decreasing with a specific rate. So over here, if we put this description, we could enter, what was that specific code? It's value, and we specify that value. So in this case, we want to say altitude rate of change. So the altitude rate of change and description. So maybe we'll do something like this. It will increase altitude by this value. Let's check this out because I don't do much Javadoc either. It's good, but we'll check it out. Control Q. So this did not change. Let me see if I did something wrong. 1 second. I think, do I need to, sorry, I forgot to put it inside curly braces. There we go. So here you could see the IntelliSense picked it up. It's telling me it's red. Must reference to a static field. Okay, so the value is to a static field we're gonna just change it for static just to see how it looks. Let's come back. Did I do the correct one? There we go. So, sorry, one. All right, sorry, I'm getting calls here. So let's go check out increase altitude, Control Q, and you could see here, it will increase the altitude by 1000. And this is nice. We actually see the value directly here. And this value will change whenever, well, we change it inside the code. Did I run it? Yeah, okay. So that's one thing. I'm just going to take off this static. Let's go back to here. So other than this, we have any other things we want to put inside here. Can I just put it as altitude? No. Okay. Let's see what else we could do. So another thing, you could see that when we bring in the IntelliSense control space, we get a lot of other values, other meta information that we could put in, such as this code, and we could do Control Q on that to see what it says too. Well, actually, they didn't put any documentation on that. So you see, it makes our lives a little bit harder. So there is, maybe we could put some meta information in here. Maybe we could, let's see if I put this, what would that do? No, this is not what I want. So there is a code tag. Again, we're going to learn it together. Normally this code tag is something like this code, and we're gonna put literal and we're gonna put altitude. Does that work? Let's check it out. Just having some fun. No, I gotta read the documentation. See, this is not a good thing. I'm gonna pause for a second. We'll be all right. So what we need to do, just doing a quick Google search for Javadoc linking to, let's say, a code. What we could do is, we don't need this code. We'll check that out in a little bit. But what we could do is say link. So we're going to say altitude. Good. Look, if you notice now, we get the IntelliSense. Actually, can we do this? Or actually, we could do airplane class, airplane dot. And here we're going to do, actually, there's not a dot. It's a hashtag. And we could do altitude change. So by doing this, we should get Control Q. We get a link to altitude rate of change. So it will increase the altitude by altitude rate of change, which is 1000. It's still not perfect. I want to see the value of it. So maybe here we'll change to value. And here we get an error. Okay, that's again static, won't be long. So with a little bit of research, we can't do for anything that's not static to show the value directly in our information bar. Some other tags that might be interesting. Well, let's go maybe, let's do it for another one. So let's say for this change picture, remember we had some problems with it when we were creating it. We could specify that this cannot be null. So we could do something like this, code null. So now when we look at change picture, Control Q, we could see the value null, and this is normally a code. I don't know if it's supposed to color it or not. Let me just double check my little notes. Anyway, cannot be null. And anything else we want to do, I think we got the main stuff. So if anything else you want to do, you could just go Google search those specific whatever you want to do. Sorry, the better term would be if you have an idea on mind, or if you want to copy something you see from, let's say, from a previous. Hey, all right, busy day. Where was I left? Sorry, I keep getting calls and now I'm completely lost. So anyway, if there was anything else you want to look up, just do a bit of Google search. Some interesting search I like to do is to kind of type in like something I'm looking for, cheat sheet. So in this case, look up Javadoc space cheat sheet, and you get a list of all the commands that could be possible to put in, how to utilize it, where it is. Cool. I'll see you guys in the next video.